You are live. Hi, it's Tom again and the ETs. We are back for another episode of Strange Journeys. I hope you will join with us. Come over and see us. If somebody's available, can y'all go start a watch party on the Strange Journeys group? Can do that for us. And I mean, it's already posted there, so hopefully somebody will be able to watch from there. You can watch from our Strange Journeys page, from our Strange Friends group. All right. So today we have with us Tim Shepard, Christine Rogers, Andrea Bateas, and all the way around the corner is Lynn, my lovely wife. She's having some technical issues. And Beth has said she's trying to get in. Stand by. So we should have about 5 or 6 of us today on this really kind of weird and creepy show today. So let's catch up. What's going on with everybody? Let's start with Andrea this time.
So the Grave Hunter Society has made some leaps and bounds. We're official members of the Association of Professional Genealogists. Wow.
Yeah, that.
I'm a professional. So anyways, but what that's allowing me to do is to continue my education according to the standards of the genealogical standards. And then John, so this is more up his alley. He just recently became a member of the American Society of Digital Forensics and E-Discovery.
Wow.
So he's really excited. That's definitely up his alley, while mine is more genealogy. But one of the things that the Grave Hunter Society is now starting to offer is 3D imagery of your loved one's markers. So if it's local or if we're out and we're able to do it, we can take a picture, a photograph, and turn it into 3D imagery of it. And then our long goal is to be able to possibly make 3D printing, photogrammetry of it.
Oh, nice.
And be able to offer that to people.
So offer like small little headstones for their ancestors.
Yeah, that's what we want to be able to find a niche in this, and there's just so many different ways to go, and that's one of the things we're looking at now. But that's about it for us.
Excellent. All right, that sounds cool. All right, Christine, what's going on in your world?
Oh, just trying to clean up and get everything ready for back to school, and my daughter's starting college, my son possibly starting college, and all different kinds of stuff. Hard to believe that I've got a senior now.
Yeah,
I remember when they used to be so little.
Yeah, that happens when you feed them.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe
I should think about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd look at my kids and they're growing up, like, doggone, I got to stop feeding these guys.
Right? And they eat constantly.
I know.
Even after you go to bed, they get up in the middle of the night and go eat.
Well, Lynn, like I said, is having difficulties with video, but do you want to tell everybody how you're feeling, sweetheart?
Montezuma has taken his revenge.
Okay. All right. We hated to do it, but she had to go get the test for the virus the other day, and we're waiting for results now. So keep your fingers crossed, and let's hope and pray that it's not there. But the doctor did say that if it was, told her that if it was COVID, then she was on the back end of it. That it's
I'd already lived through all the worst.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, and the bad thing is, there's Beth. Device is not connected, Beth. There we go. And Beth finally made it.
Yay!
Oh, you missed it. You missed it, Beth. Tim was waiting for you. Tim, show her what you got. Because
see, my hair's done, no towel.
Beth had sent us a message saying she was rushing, getting ready, and had to take a shower. So I said, please don't come to the show with a towel on your head. So when we signed on today, guess what Tim had on his head? And I said, save that for Beth.
Don't tempt me. Next time I will.
Looking good, Beth.
Okay. So what I was saying with Lynn, if her test comes back positive, then I got to go get tested. So because I can't go back to work until we have negative tests. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nice having the time off, but I just, you know how it is. And I mean, I've always said I love my job. I've always said this about this current job. I love my job, but I hate working. I'll be so glad when I can retire. But, I know this little free ride is going to end soon and I have to get back to work. So, Tim, what's up in your world?
We are currently doing private tours. If anybody wants to contact us,
Nice.
tours, and if you've got at least 4 people, we'll get out there for you. I am also scheduled to be at. Let me pull it up now. It's called Adventures in Learning on August 7th in Topeka, Kansas. I know they've got about 80 people registered to show up.
Wow.
We'll see how that goes. I'm actually going to be talking about the oddities of Kansas history, strange things. The Wizard of Oz. How does it really play into Kansas as well as Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and Kiss? So,
Nice.
So we've got some odd things going on there, odd laws that are still in place that most people don't understand. Where did that law come from? Why did we put it in place?
Right.
In Topeka, you're not legally allowed to have a snowball fight in the city of Topeka.
Oh.
So,
all right. Well, there's
it's illegal in Mobile to put an ice cream cone in your pocket.
Yep, that's the one.
I thought that was only on Sunday.
Well, it's and
I don't know. I just think it's stupid to even put an ice cream cone in your pocket anyway.
it's
Clearly
also,
somebody's done it.
Yep, it's also illegal in Mobile to shoot silly string. In the birthplace of Mardi Gras of all places, you can't shoot silly string. Yeah, bad. Well, they used to throw flour off the floats, so
I'm so glad they don't do that.
Yeah. So, all right, Beth, you're buffering out, but it's your turn. What's going on with you, girl?
Just staying busy, teaching, working on the ambulance. We've been pretty busy lately. So, and I have a thunderstorm coming through, so that's probably why I'm buffering.
Ooh, yeah, it rained here a little while ago.
Yeah, we're expecting it soon.
All right. Well, remember, folks, we have technically we do have a website, but it's my fault it's not ready yet. But there is an actual official website for this live stream, but it's not up and running yet because I have not spent time on it. I've been trying to other things, but we do have our Facebook page. Hey, we got Kent. Whoops, I was showing Kent. Was with us 2 weeks ago. Good morning, all. I miss you guys. Need to do more shows with you. Yes, you do. We'll plan that, brother. We will plan that. But I wanted to remind you, we do have our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Strange Journeys. And then our group, which, if you remember, we've told you this time and time again, Strange Journeys, when we lost Lynn, Strange Journeys grew out of a former company that Tim and Andrea and Kent, who was our guest last time, worked together in, and we continued Strange Journeys for a while, and then we Strange Friends became the just like a fun house for all the people who had been on the tour, and it's grown beyond that. So come see us at Strange Friends for Strange Friends, but we also have our, where's it at? Our merch sites, teespring.com stores, Strange Journey stuff. I added, I think it was a pillow the other day with I Believe in Ghosts or something. I don't know. We will be adding more show-oriented stuff with our logo, our website, and all that kind of stuff real soon. But then we also have the general merch site, strangestuff.live. And you can go there and get all kinds of weird, strange stuff, guys. You can also get your ghost hunting equipment. You can get books on UFOs, cryptids, Bigfoot. You can get T-shirts that say all the weird, wonky things that you like it to say about the paranormal or ghost or whatever. All of that is on there. I mean, I was going through it the other day, and we've got tons of stuff on there, people. And remember, that one is an eBay reseller. You find something on there you like, you're taken to your eBay account, and you purchase it there. You don't give us any of your personal information, and you do all your purchasing through eBay. All right, I just want to make sure we're going over everything here. I meant to tell you all this last week, and I haven't heard from Donnie. Donnie was having a rough time the last time we spoke to him, but he and I have actually been started working on a song about the black-eyed kids. And I've built some lyrics, a verse or two, and he's going to be working on it. So hopefully by the time we get to our Black-Eyed Kids show, we will have a Black-Eyed Kids song written by us. So wouldn't that be cool? All right. I wanted to tell y'all, have y'all heard of the Randonaut app? That's what it looks like. Randonaut is an app. Some people think it's a ghost hunting app, but it's not really. Tommy mentioned it to the other ETs last week, but I had seen it the week before and had meant to mention it in the last show, but forgot. But here's what I want to do. It's a free app, and what it does, it sends you to anomalies within a certain distance of where you are at. And if you've watched any of the videos on YouTube, they're kind of freaky. There was one made the news about some kids using the Randonaut app, found body parts in a suitcase. That's kind of creepy. I was watching another one, and this guy and his girlfriend was driving to the location of where it was the Randonaut app had sent them, and they couldn't get to the location because there were ambulances. There was at least 2 ambulances and a couple of fire trucks and a couple of cop cars at the very location that it had sent them to. That's kind of weird. So what I want to do for anybody that's watching, and the ETs, all these guys, where they at over here? All right. Just a little challenge. If we can download the app and go to at least one location and video it, and if it's something weird, strange, get it to us. We would love to share that with everybody. You know, while you're going there, whatever, shoot a video of what you find and let us know about it. And if you can send it to us, then we will try to get it on the show. And if we get enough of them from the ETs and you guys, then we'll do a complete show about it. How's that sound?
Sweet.
Sounds good to me.
Little do we know, it actually brings all of us ETers together in the middle of the continent. Like we finally all get to meet. So
Yeah.
That would be fun. A lot of fun.
At that big Bigfoot conference next year you were talking about.
yeah, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I think we all should go. Maybe do an ET live there while we're there. You know,
That would be cool. That
no
would be cool.
So
All right. Well, again, thank y'all for being here. I think it's about that time, isn't it, folks?
Yeah.
Let's get started. Okay, and we are back. Where is that? Okay, I want to take that one off.
Somebody's missing.
Yeah, Lynn. Okay, there's Lynn. Okay.
Tim's
She
missing.
Oh, Tim is literally missing.
He was abducted.
Yeah, I guess.
Put his tinfoil
I
hat
guess
on
so.
instead of a towel.
Oh, that's what it was. He went to put up his towel. All right.
Go get his tin
Well,
hat.
I don't know. According to the Hitchhiker's Guide, you need to keep a towel with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
You do.
you never know. You
And
know,
have your ring ready.
yeah. That's playing that intro reminded me. I'm going to kind of let the cat out of the bag. It's not set up completely yet. There's Tim. He's back.
Sort
But well, I thought he was. But we will, as soon as I can get it cleared and everything, our broadcasts are going to be going out over YouTube as well as Facebook soon. And in setting up our YouTube account, I found out that a couple of the songs I've been using for my little promos were copyrighted. Little did I know. And YouTube wouldn't let me post those little segments. So I've had to, yeah. So I had to go. I've redone one that I could redo. I mean, Facebook wanted to get onto me for the Ghostbuster stuff, but Andrea and I kind of went through all the copyright stuff before that show to make sure it was okay. Since we were using it in kind of a teaching format, we were good. But a couple of the didn't pass YouTube's copyright search or whatever, so I've had to mute those. One of them was for something we only used once, so it's no big deal. I muted that. And the other was for the franklovesbooks.com site, so I had to go back and actually change the music on that. But it hadn't said anything about our intro and closing or the other ads, so I think we're good. But the music I had used on that one that I had to change actually came off of my video editor. You know, it's supposed to be. I'd assumed that everything on there was, you know, what do they call it?
Open source
Well,
or free.
For fair
yeah,
use.
no copyright, public domain. That's what I was looking for. Public domain. And anyway, so, you know, now that we're going to be broadcasting on YouTube, we got to make sure all of that's kind of taken care of. Even though we're not making any money off of this, they still want it to be clear and up front. All right, you know, we always start with the latest sightings.
Subscriptions too, as people are starting to log in.
Yeah.
YouTube will actually pay you to do that.
Right, and we got to get there. We will build to that. I've tried to set this up where we could do this one on YouTube streaming, but they haven't given us clearance yet. So hopefully soon, and maybe by the next show, we'll be live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. That's my goal. So I've got a latest sighting, and this was posted by Northern Michigan Bigfoot just a few days ago. Now, from what I understand, this is when I watched the whole video, it was a recent video. It was like it was within the last week, but they posted it on the 17th, which was about, what, a week ago? 5, 6, 7, yeah, about 8 days ago. But anyway, this was posted on the 17th by Northern Michigan Bigfoot. Let me see what you think about this. Did you see it?
Mhm. Fast little bugger.
Yep. Beth, you're shaking your head no. You didn't
No,
see
I
it?
think I buffered about that time.
Huh?
I think
Do
I
what?
buffered about that time.
Oh, okay. I'm going to play that again. All right, it's coming up here. Look in the middle of your screen, a dark object at the lower part of the screen. Here we go. All right, right there in the middle of the screen, lower part. Now it's lower right. There it goes to the left. Thoughts, comments, opinions?
I mean, I can see how one would go. It's in the woods, so it's obviously a Bigfoot. But it's very nondescript. It definitely is something. It's not a deer, and bears don't walk like that. But this was just on the 17th, 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that was in Michigan.
Yes.
In northern Ohio, we've had a few sightings of shadow people walking in tree lines and in trees. And there's been some videos out there, but I've never been able to get anybody to contact me in regards of an interview or anything like that.
Right.
I just think it's I'm very intrigued. That's different. That's something that I would, if I was in the middle of the woods walking, I would turn around and go back to my car. Wouldn't stick around.
I don't.
Not camping here tonight.
Well, I grew up not in the woods, but on a farm in South Mississippi, and we were out in the woods daily. And if we saw something, I mean, our first thought was never Bigfoot, but if we thought a deer or whatever, we were actually going in that direction to find it. But,
well, yeah, if you thought it was a deer,
yeah,
who's afraid of man?
that would have been fun to see. I think I would have gone after it. That's just me. So, all right. Well, before we get into the topic of today's show, our first sponsor, and Tim just mentioned it. I keep forgetting. Ravenwind Tours. All right. And Tim mentioned earlier that they are doing private tours. So make sure to call them and get that set up if you're in the Kansas area there, Lawrence and Topeka. And you won't regret it. Some of the stuff he's told us, pretty cool.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Sorry, Tom. No, where did you get the name Ravenwind?
Actually, it's something that my wife came up with because have run for about 15 years. We ran a haunted house out of our side yard, completely built out of pallets. And so she came up with Ravenwind, and we've stuck with it for our various businesses. So.
Cool.
Nice. That's awesome to know. All right. We titled today's show Beware the Stick Man. And if you've seen the little promo, this is some spooky stuff. What they've been described as, well, let me just go to this. Cryptids.fandom.com has an article called Cryptid Wiki. Cryptid Wiki, the Black Stick Man. There's no date given on the article, but they said black stick men are a relatively recent phenomenon. Now, Andrew, you're getting me tongue-tied. People across the globe have been sighting these two-dimensional like pitch black beings. They appear to be two-dimensional, and their appearance always looks the same no matter what angle they're seen at. Their heights range from that of a normal human being to an abnormal several feet tall. They reportedly make no sound and cast no shadow. Witnesses also claim that these figures are often charged with some sort of electricity, the most often reported being static electricity. We're getting some feedback somewhere, guys. And witnesses often claim that while encountering these beings, they feel a strange urge of aggression and agitation. And it could be said that these beings exert some sort of negative energy. We've heard that they feel evil, like when we were talking about the Black Hat Man, just the sight of them feels evil. But they're unlike ghosts in that they're not linked to any particular paranormal incident or location. You know, we've seen, say, like, you know, there's a Bigfoot sighting. There's sometimes a UFO sighting, you know, close by, or ghost appearances, you know, things like that. They usually work in tandem, but supposedly the stick man is just to itself. It doesn't seem to be a part of any other paranormal phenomena. But so far, there's yet to be recorded a case of a stick man or a black stick man to attack a person. They have yet to communicate in any way, not even making a sound. But they're also not to be confused with Slender Man. Slender Man, of course, being that internet-created horror character. He's got like a white head and a white shirt and black suit. This is supposedly just a black stick figure. But Christine, you want to read that other description? Do you have that? You're muted.
Let me pull it up.
There
Hold
we
on
go.
just a second.
I was trying to give something, pass this around. So some things I have assigned to folks. Sometimes some things I don't.
Yeah, the Confessional podcast.
Yes.
Okay. May 30th, 2019. And I quote, "Though reports are rare, people around the world have been glimpsing black, two-dimensional stick men that resemble cartoon stick figures. These bizarre sightings sound almost absurd. How could a stick figure drawing come to life, but are growing in prevalence? 3 distinct variations of the stick man."
Well, yeah, there's 3 different kinds that I've found. Okay, we're going to be really focusing on the first one, but there's the black stick man. You know, looks like the child's drawing, or the remember the TV show The Saint. Well, y'all are too young, but they had a black stick man with a round circle for a head and then a halo above it. But that's what people describe it as, and some people say it's white, and some people say it's black. But that's the most prevalent. We're all going to, after we talk about those a little bit, we're going to touch on the two-dimensional creatures. Now, these are not stick men. These actually have a defined shape, but they're described as being paper thin, or like cardboard, or like a cutout. And then Andrea is going to tell us something about some stick Indians that are malevolent and dangerous entities from Native American lore. Before we get into that, we're going to go to our next sponsor, and then Tim's going to tell us about. Tim is the one that started all this with the stick man, y'all, for us. So we're going to hear from our next sponsor, and then Tim's going to tell us about his experiences and what he's come up with. Several months ago, and make sure you go visit Christine on her Facebook page. I keep forgetting. Oh, she's way over there. Go, author Christine Rogers. Make sure you go check her out and buy her stuff at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Books A Million. Right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Several months ago, when I started putting all this together and wanting to do this, one of the first suggestions that was put forth was the stick man from Tim, saying that he had had a couple of sightings in Topeka, and then said there were some others around the world. And so we've been digging into that the past couple of weeks. So Tim, what did you find? What got this all started?
Let me give you some background about the city of Topeka itself, because
Okay.
I know it's going to tie in with Andrea's research as well. The city of Topeka is actually founded in 1822 on the north side of the Kansas River. And it's actually called Topeka because it's a Ka Indian word, or Kanza Indian word, that means a good place to grow and dig potatoes. Now, where they came up with that, I don't know, but obviously they were planting or growing potatoes here in this area. And then in 1854, you get the first white settlers that arrived in Topeka along the Santa Fe Trail. And they begin building on both sides of the river. We've actually got what we call two downtowns now. You have old downtown in North Topeka. You have the new downtown in South Topeka, both of which really date to about the same 1854 time period. It depended on which side of the law you were on, or which side of the rule you were on when it came to slavery. If you lived in North Topeka, you were pro-slavery. If you lived in South Topeka, you were anti-slavery. So you've got a lot that is going on in the history of the city itself. Like most cities, as the urban sprawl begins to happen, the downtown areas begin to die out. In fact, I shared a picture with you, and I'll have you put it up here in just a little bit, of the current downtown situation. But when I started doing tours in Topeka about 8 years ago, the downtown area was not a place either in the north side or on the south side that you wanted to be in. They were rough neighborhoods. There were entire areas of the streets that weren't lit. There were places where there were no street lights. There's no businesses on the south side of Topeka that are open or weren't at the time that were open in the south portion of the downtown area. It was not the best place to be to start with.
Yeah.
But about the same time period that I started doing tours, there was actually a man, his name was Roger Williams, who was coming home from work. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. He was headed down Southwest Jackson, which is where the Capitol building sits.
Can we put the picture up?
Yeah, you can go ahead and put the picture up there. The picture that you're seeing here is actually this Kansas State Capitol. It's taken with a drone from the very top of the dome there. The street that you can see running from right to left is actually South Jackson. You can just make out there's a parking garage. There's a nice big 7-story building there and then just beyond that is a parking garage. And he was writing about where that parking garage is when he said that he saw a shadowy figure that was moving towards him that stood taller than the upper layer, or the first layer of where the windows are in the parking garage. You're talking about 12 to 14 feet at that point. He said that it had a real loping motion, that it moved real animalistic, but he said it was paper thin. He could actually see around it. And he thought it was real odd. He's looking around. That area until about 3 years ago on that particular street was not lit at all. It's a real recent thing. They actually put street lights back down in through there. So where he was getting the shadow from, I have no idea. It scares him enough that he actually begins running for home, which is several blocks away. He actually called the Topeka Police Department when he got home. He was so scared about whatever this was. And so I hear about this very first report, and I started looking into it. And as I'm researching the who the stick men are, I'm thinking this has got to be the strangest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's probably in the last 20 years, they're seeing these all over the world. The earliest recordings of them are from Edinburgh, Scotland, in an area that they call it the Dark City. Portions of the city that have been abandoned. Nobody's out there, which is what Topeka was, both on the north side and the south side. So over the next 8 years, you've actually got 18 reported sightings of this thing.
Wow.
Either in downtown or in North Topeka on the opposite side of the river. Those reportings have slowed down, especially when it comes to the downtown areas in North Topeka, or what we call Noto District, completely. In fact, the most recent sighting, which was in 2019 in November, actually happens on Southwest Tyler Street, which is about 8 blocks further to the east, but it's an area that is now considered pretty much abandoned. There are lots of abandoned houses, lots of things that are run down in the area.
Yeah.
That's what the downtown area and Noto were like just a few years ago. There was nothing there. When I started doing tours in the downtown area, there was one business open on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday night, and that was a bar, and that was it. There was nothing else down there. It's all used to be all owned by the state. Now you've got several restaurants that have opened. There's a bar called the Brew Bank, which actually there's a video on YouTube. You get on there. It's called A Good Place to or it's an answer to Stephen Cohen makes a comment, or Colbert says that Topeka is a good place to break down. And Topeka had an answer for that, and they used the brew bank as a new commercial for people to try and get them to come live in the city of Topeka. But now we've got about 30 businesses that are open late at night. It's kind of interesting that they've changed exactly what's going on. And that's the same with the North Topeka area. There's all kinds of businesses down there now that are open. So I think it's moving out of the downtown area and out into other areas as it goes along. Now,
were they like this? Is this
that's
what
exactly what they're is a stick figure? They said that it looks like a child's drawing. So you are looking at that stick figure. It's got that perfect stick figure when you're a little kid and you really don't know how to draw.
Yeah,
make sure you draw out that figure.
That's. I mean, guys, this is what we're talking about here. That just. It just boggles my mind that people are seeing, and describing this, and they come from different. I read one today that was a sighting in Turkey.
Right.
This talking about the same thing. But and you said the latest one was back in November of 19.
November of 2019 is the most recent one that was reported, and it's actually just about 5 blocks. What is it? Tyler is about 5 blocks to the east of the area that we're in, but it's an abandoned neighborhood. Now it's interesting because as I was doing my research, there was, what is this thing eating? And in Edinburgh, they claimed that it would lure people into the shadows and that it would eat the person and just leave the skin. And it'd be this papery material that would just be blowing around. It was a really weird thing to read. But it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so how often are you seeing paper blowing around that is really something that this thing ate? But then I found a writer that about 2 years after the first sightings in Edinburgh, she's writing a fictional book and she's claiming that these stick men are eating people too, and that's what they're leaving behind. So I'm wondering if that's where they got it from. Is that she wrote it in fiction and they went, oh, that's what they eat. Now we know what the paper is blowing around.
Well, when we get into our suppositions later on, we're going to talk about some of that as where they come from. Because that just, with dog men, Bigfoot, Wendigos, these kind of things, you can kind of understand they're seeing these things like in the woods and whatnot. And, they would expect to see some kind of wild creature. But seeing this,
right?
Where does that come from in your psyche? I just, if that's what it is. So that leads me to believe that there may be something else going on here, because why would your brain, like I said, you can understand being out in the woods or whatnot, or looking up into the sky and seeing something, but a stick man,
right?
I mean, here was another artist rendering, or sculptor. I don't know if that's the actual stick man or somebody was saying, hey, this is looks like what mine was, but this was on a page dedicated to stories of a stick man. And then that, and I'm going to play the video for this one in a second.
Videos ate up. That's a creepy video.
Yeah, that one is. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play that video here in a second. But to me, these two are more like a praying mantis than a stick man. But because to me, there's depth.
Stick bug.
Yeah, stick bug, praying mantis. Yeah, that's what they look like, giant versions of that. But Beth, read us that other story, but this one's kind of creepy, y'all.
All right. So Carrie commented on an article called The Black Stick Man Phenomenon at Spirit Seeker's blog. She says, I have seen one. April 16th, 2014. My daughter is 3. She's special needs and doesn't talk that well. She starts screaming and crying, and Carrie goes in there. She keeps saying, I saw someone. I saw someone. She does not say anything like that, usually. She barely has 10 words that she even says. And she draws on her Etch-a-Sketch, which I'm glad she still has an Etch-a-Sketch, and says, here, Mommy. Again, special needs, can't draw that well. I have the pic and can send to anyone, just leave their cell number. Otherwise, I can't upload or don't know how. She drew a pic of what she saw, period. I'm not lying. I'm not playing with anyone at all. I'm telling the truth. She drew it. Next night, I see the same stick figure like thing trying to go right out my window. I'm so terrified. And yet I have seen a lot in my life. I'm 26. So I have a lot of spirits, etc. I've seen a lot of spirits, etc. This stick-like figure was hanging over her bed like it was going to take her. Before I came in the room, yeah, that's scary. It is now April 24th. I haven't slept at night since then. And I go to bed at 7 a.m. in the daylight when my kids go to school because she can't sleep at night anymore. And then there's, but that's,
wow.
I
mean, how would you like to, walk in and see that over your kid's crib?
At that point, would it be considered cryptic? It would sounds more like Shadow Man. It doesn't really sound like, it sounds more like you had a problem going on in your household. It's not something
could be
outside.
It could be.
That would definitely make me scream.
And if I saw it, that's
oh yeah, definitely. And go grab some sage
I was thinking
and some salt or something.
an axe.
Thinking what?
got an axe or a hatchet and go to town. Get firewood.
Oh yeah. You're a stick, I'm grabbing an axe.
Yeah. Oh God, that just the thought of it going in toward the 3-year-old baby, and then the baby drawing it on the Etch a Sketch.
Right.
That was creepy in itself. Let me show you that. Well, let me show you this one first. This is probably the first. Now, I came across this one years ago, but there wasn't the phenomena of the stick man or the black stick man. But this is the video that I came across years ago, and people were freaking out about it, didn't know what to call it.
Oh God.
That's so
Wow.
creepy.
It reminds me of the bad guy in one of the Spider-Man movies.
I would have to move.
Uh-huh. And you can't really say it's a spider on the camera or anything because it's clearly on that wall, not the
On the
camera.
building. See, this
Yeah.
is where I'd say it takes it out of the 2-dimensional realm, because to me, that's fully a 3-dimensional entity.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd it go? It's right. I think it's down there in the lower part of the middle. Nope, there's coming down from the top.
Uh-uh.
Yep, now's the time for the giant fly swatter.
Kind of makes you wonder what's going on inside of the building at that moment that would attract something like that.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like a soul eater or something.
I wonder if the people in those windows see it stretched out across.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, wonder what's going on that would draw, like, chum in the water for a shark. What would draw something attention to something like that?
Good point. Are they?
Somebody could have been trying to do a black mass or just a spell or something. And
it
let me go check this out.
Is it seeking, negative emotions, energy, and so on? Is there somebody terminally ill in there? What could be drawing the attention?
That's a thought.
What's the extenuating circumstances of the people who do witness these things? Like, are they somebody that's continuously under the influence of some sort of narcotic, or not that you have to be, but could there be other circumstances that would draw the attention into something like this? Because it definitely seems like a predatory entity.
And that's what people say. They feel that when they encounter it.
Especially in this video, as we're watching this.
So somebody actually videoed that?
Windows, especially windows that are dark. It's like, oh, wait, I got to see what's in there. Let me see if there's something. Maybe this one deserves to be eaten. I don't know.
Yeah. What were you asking, Christine? Or was that Beth? I don't remember.
Was that a security camera video, or was that somebody actually filming, looking out their window from a building across the way?
If I remember correctly, that video was taken in Russia by someone actually just filming what they were seeing. But that's several years old.
Stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. But see, that's the thing. That video is so freaking old, and it's been used on so many different YouTube videos that it's the original has been lost somewhere. Who knows where it actually started? So anyway, all right. That same website that Beth was talking about. Well, before we move on from that video, to me, we can call that a stick man because technically that's what it looks like, but it's not the. To me, it's not this.
Right.
Mm-mm. No.
You know,
It kind of looks like those sticky men that you get at the dollar store that kids get that they
Yeah.
can throw on the wall and it'll like tumble down. So that looks more like a
Right.
sticky man, not a stick man. But
right. But I mean, like in this one, I mean that one's casting a shadow. You can see the shadow of the legs down there.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the torso as it goes up.
that would not be a good day to see something
No,
like
no.
So-
Again, I'd want to grab an axe because that just to me that one's got dimension and depth to it. You know, 2 dimensions to me means just just a paper. you know,
So when
Huh?
people those videos or pictures, you don't see that little round head up at the top.
no,
So
you don't.
I'm guessing that people are kind of the closest thing that they can to describe it is to say like a stick figure man or hang. To me, it reminds me of hangman. Somebody
That's
wanted
a
hangman a few times.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So
So maybe they're just describing
not-
that.
mhm.
They're seeing
Because they
that.
have no other. Yeah, because that
And
doesn't really
describing
have
that.
a head.
Right. I never saw a head in that.
Mm-mm. Or that other one where it's up against that one. You don't. There's not really maybe a little bit of a head up at the top, but not.
Yeah.
It's mostly just it looks like a giant.
Right.
in our
Well-
Clark County sightings, it doesn't have a head like that. It's more like the stick one that's leaning up against the wall. So
Breaking up.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say, Andrea, what was that, Clark County, Ohio?
mhm.
Yeah, he described it as just kind of like a straight, no head,
Like
just
a
straight
stick
up. Yeah.
with like humanoid arms and legs.
So they're probably seeing,
Maybe 2 different things.
yeah. So it's a possibility they're seeing this and that and describing it like that. Because to me, this and that look more like this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
Tim, did they actually say in Topeka if it actually had a head? I saw some of the video on one show that I watched where they were talking about it, or maybe they were talking about it on somewhere else. But did they say that it actually had a head, or that it was just we just assume that it does when they say it looked like a stick figure?
The ones that have talked about it say that it has a head, usually a rounded head. And they are using this, something similar to this drawing when they're drawing it out. So when I first heard about it, and they were talking about it, I thought, man, they're talking about a slender man. We've got a slender man in Topeka. But as I've learned more about it from the ones that are talking about it, you're talking about something that looks just like a kid's stick figure drawing with
Mhm.
a head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I've heard. Well, check
Yeah,
this.
because they said
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because the ones in Topeka they actually said were 2-dimensional. They kept stressing were 2-dimensional. It did not look like it was in our realm totally, or in our
Right.
universe.
Right.
Kind of like the
All right.
upside down from Stranger Things.
All right. Who's going to tell our next story? Takers, anybody?
Well, says you are.
No, it doesn't. Tommy. I put Tommy, and Tommy's not here, so I'll take it.
Oh, it just says Tom. I'll do it. I can do
No,
it.
it
The
says
2-dimensional
Tom.
creatures.
No, we're not there yet. We still got a couple more stories.
Oh,
Y'all are jumping ahead of it.
About Susan?
Yeah,
You want me to do
I
it?
don't have that in here.
that's fine. Because that's off of that same blog. Where about the little kid, the 3-year-old baby. Yeah, with Susan. Susan commented on that same article The black stick phenomenon. Go ahead.
Okay, Susan
I don't
also
have that one.
commented, it was this year, 2015, when I had the experience of
Who else was
seeing
going to read it? Because I don't have that.
a
Susan's
black.
comment.
Hold on. Beth is lagging.
I'm a slacker today. What can I say?
Oh. Okay. All right,
That's
Christine,
what
go
happens
ahead.
when you're up for 22 hours.
I'm gonna mute you. Go ahead, Christine.
Okay, you want me to start over?
Yes.
Okay. Susan also commented, it was this year, 2015, when I had the experience of seeing a black stick figure. It was Easter, April 5th, and my husband and I were driving north on the highway to our daughter's house at 9:30 in the morning. It was pouring rain, unusual for North Carolina. No, California? CA. Anyway, since we've had mainly drought conditions, all of a sudden I saw dimly through the rain-battered windshield a thin black figure about 12 feet tall, sprinting across the roadway from left to right, east to west. Several car lengths in front of us seemed to dodge the cars, yet lifting up off the road. It disappeared down an embankment and I didn't see it after that. Very strange. My husband did not see it, since he was concentrating on driving. Now, this was in broad daylight, not in the dark shadows down a lonesome road. Therefore, it did not strike me as spooky or ominous. The impression I had was that this was a reflection or embodiment of nature and energy. As it moved so quickly, it seemed to have some purpose or destination, or just an intent of getting out of the way of traffic.
Yeah, he just wanted to get out of the line of fire.
Right?
Why did the stick man cross the road?
Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah, wow. I was going to play another
That's a
video
good
right there.
cryptic joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, we got to come up with an answer. All right, I'm gonna go back
He
and
was
play
going to
another.
visit Bigfoot.
There you go. Or the
Isn't
black hat,
Bigfoot
the black hat man.
right?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna tell this story and go back and play this other video because this other video is more recent than that last one, but I found this story on Renegade on Phantoms and Monsters website called from a person called Renegade Therapist. I saw a stickman entity last year. I'd never heard of this before. It was about 9:30 p.m. and I had my two dogs out. We were walking back up the driveway to my house when they both started barking. Remember that. Looking down the street, I looked, and three houses down there was a black stick figure zipping up and down my neighbor's driveway. It seemed to know I saw it and stopped, and then started heading our way. I immediately got panicky when I saw it and dragged the dogs into the house. I was terrified. I turned out all the lights and I kept looking out the window, feeling like it had come into the yard. Thank God I never saw it again. The dog saw it first, which validates for me it wasn't my imagination. I saw it after they started barking at it. It was only about 4 to 5 foot tall. I'm bad at measurements by sight, but it was extremely frightening. And it wasn't walking. Think about what Tim mentioned earlier. It wasn't walking, it was gliding very fast, almost robotic. I hope I never see it again. And that's the description I've heard, like from Tim earlier and reading these other things, that it's kind of a loping walk.
Right.
It's not a smooth bipedal upright walker. All right. Now I've said that these have been noticed in our described most of the time black, which is why they call them the black stick man, but sometimes white, like the Clark County, Ohio one. Andrew, wasn't his described as being white?
kind of a white gray, like a shadow, like not completely black. I mean, still not. When he is describing it, he's like, I really don't know what I saw. It's one of those. He described it not as a jet black. I mean, I don't know. Like the one that's leaning up against the building is kind of has a brown, hue to it. So, but this one, it's shadow, gray, light gray, white.
Right. Well, the video I'm about to show you was posted on YouTube. Now, the only thing I could get was the video was posted 2 or 3 years ago, but this is from a Florida security cam in oh gosh, I had it written down earlier, but I can't remember. I think it's on the video, but it's in this was a security cam, and I edited it down just to the best views of this thing. But this 2 or 3 years ago. Whoa.
Sorry.
Why am I getting a loop here?
That was me. Sorry.
Yeah, Beth always causing trouble. All right. Okay, this was posted. You can see the full video by Gerald Carpentier on his YouTube channel. But check this out. Possible Stickman. All right, there it starts. All right. There it is by the front tire. See that? By the driver door. Every time I watch this, I'm looking for it to go behind. There it is around the front bumper, around the front tire again. I'm looking for it to go somewhere else other than that van. To me, that would give more credence to the veracity of the video. See, there it goes again around the front tire, around the front bumper.
And up on the car.
Yeah. Isn't that freaky? Now, I'm waiting for it to go behind the tree. Yeah, Lake Worth, Florida.
Huh.
I mean, I was waiting for it to go behind the tree. To me, that would, given it a little more authenticity. As it is, just playing right around the front of that van, it's not, we can't judge anything by that. If it had gone behind the van or behind the tree,
I think it's a reflection.
Was it raining?
Well, I think it is because
I'm wondering, because I saw other little, I don't know, I guess bugs or something flitting around too. But I mean, I could see it if it was kind of raining a little bit. Maybe should that the raindrops catching light from something. I know in one part of the video, Andrea's talking. I can't hear her.
It's okay. All I was going to say is it doesn't show up until the mystery car that's like that pulls into another parking place.
Pulled up.
That's when it shows.
You must have edited that out
from the rear
but you
view
couldn't
mirror.
see it during that point anyway.
Yeah, the original video, which was about twice as long, had several minutes of just nothing happening. And then is like a car pulled through and you could see the light shine, you know, as it turned or whatever. And then you start seeing this thing cut up. So I don't know.
Than anything that I've heard reported too. I mean, because when you're looking at this video, it's really probably only 2-3 foot tall. And most reports put it up over 10 foot. Even when we were watching the ones on the side of the building, that thing's got to be 30 foot.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that again, it's still a cool video and fun to watch. But like Andrea said and Beth was saying, that there could be some light play going on here because it really didn't start until that other car pulled through. Yeah. Somebody mentioned spider webs. You could have said that out loud, Christine.
Sorry. You guys are talking. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, you didn't want to be like Beth.
What?
What? See?
I'm causing trouble again.
Yeah, I'm causing trouble again.
Yeah, that's from a friend of mine, Michelle. She posted in our watch party.
Yeah, I mean, spider webs that's a very real possibility. I mean, it's like I said, if whatever had gone behind the tree, you know, the little trees that was there, or behind the van itself, and given us some kind of depth, but it just played right around there, back and forth, up and down. Actually got up on the top of the car at some point. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking along that line of spider web on the camera lens itself. So,
hey guys, I've got a bad storm coming in, so I might get kicked off.
Hunker down.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can do. It's just gonna come get me.
Yeah.
But I might lose Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll miss you if you go, maybe. But
I'll try to stick around as long as I can.
okay, good. All right. Now, the other possibility we've talked about with the stick men is the two-dimensional creatures. Now, that has been mentioned with these stick men, like we talked about with this guy. It said, all right, I'm getting some feedback loop here, guys. Somebody got it on. They say these are two-dimensional, these guys right here. But all right, I'm getting some loop here. Who's got your speakers on? All right. But another one I've come across is the two-dimensional that are different forms, different shapes that are not just this stick man out there. You know, have you ever heard of it? When I was a senior in high school, my Algebra 2 teacher recommended a book, and it's called Flatlands, and I read it. And Flatlands, it's actually called Flatlands: A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin A. Abbott. He was an English schoolmaster. It was called a satirical novella. It was written pseudonymously. Getting tongue-tied again. That the name of A Square. The book used the fictional two-dimensional world of Flatland to comment on the hierarchy of Victorian culture, but the novella's more enduring contribution of its examination was its examination of dimensions. The story describes a two-dimensional world occupied by geometric figures, whereof women are simple line segments, while men are polygons with various numbers of sides. The narrator is A. Square, a member of the cast of gentlemen and professionals who guides the readers through some of the implications of life in two dimensions. The first half of the story goes through the practicalities of existing in a two-dimensional universe. We're still getting some feedback somewhere, guys. I don't know where that is. But this book, Flatline, talked about if you could be on a two-dimensional plane and look, everything you see would look exactly the same. Nothing but a line. Everything. You know, that's all it is. That's all you would see if you were on a two-dimensional plane. And the reason I bring this up is because of what these things are described as.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
I got to hit mute.
All right. Now, Linda Gottfried, in her book Monsters Among Us, tells the story, and I didn't get permission from her, or she hadn't responded back to me yet, to actually use the story, so I can't just read it verbatim. I'm just going to give you a paraphrased synopsis here. That during the summer of 1969, what happened? Hey, we have ghosts here, I guess, because my hand was not even on the mouse. I was sitting there like this. What are y'all doing to me? Woo! That was weird. Something was wanting to start the show over again. Like, okay, stop right there. Start all over.
Time.
Well, we haven't even gotten close to where we've been the two previous shows. And, we don't have that much more to go. But anyway. All right. Another one in Brunswick, Ohio, or another one in Ohio. This one's in Brunswick. What's going on with you guys up there, Andrea? You guys are a hot spot.
Ohio is awesome. You want ghosts, you want cryptid, you want strange, you want UFOs. Ohio has it all. I mean, it's the heartbeat of it all. We got it all.
We may have to do a show one day just on Ohio.
It's
because
weird
of all
here.
this. Okay. All right. This was in 1969 in Brunswick, Ohio. 7 kids and their grandmother saw a wolf shadow. I mean, they saw the outline of what they described as a wolf walking out of a garden that was on their property. They described it looking like a cardboard cutout. You've seen the pictures of. I got a picture of me standing with Elvis, but it was just it was just one of those cutouts in his gold lame jacket. So, but at least I got a picture with Elvis. All right. They described it as looking like a cardboard cutout, but with distinct features. It was shaped like what they called a wolf standing on 2 legs. When it turned to leave, they saw that it was as thin as cardboard. They described it as running away on the balls of its feet, not like a human. And so that's the one that has been so rare and so hard to find. They're out there, and I've heard about them, but that's the only one I've been able to document. Well, I will say there was another, but we did not get permission to share his video. He actually denied us permission to share his video where he tells the story and shows a picture of it. But we'll share a link to his video on our page. Now, the other one that type of stick man that we were going to talk about is the stick Indians. And Andrea has got some information on the stick Indians. They're described as what? Malevolent and dangerous entities.
They are, and there's not a lot of information out there. They won't even speak the name of what these things are actually called for fear that they may pull them in. There's documentation of the stick Indian all across America, wherever basically it's lush, forested, green. It goes all the way up to Canada. But the most common, we have a lot of folklore here in Ohio, but the most is with the Yakima, and that is in like the Washington territory. And they feel that these things are brought in primarily from whistling, and whistling at night really brings them in. When you know they are around, sometimes you hear like out in the distance young children playing, laughing, and sometimes you'll hear the voice of other missing people from the past, like kind of mimicking like a call or cry for help. And the whole purpose is to draw you deeper into the woods to go further away so that they can eat you. I'm
sorry.
No,
They're
you're fine.
mimicking people that have died or gone missing, or
people who have gone missing in the woods.
Wow.
I kind of wonder if they use this entity thing kind of like how we use nursery rhymes to keep our children in check, because they say that not to whistle at night, and children shouldn't follow this because they want to bring the children deeper into the woods, because they want to basically capture them and make them make them assimilate into their stick Indian tribe, so to say. And that's how they're able to kind of reproduce, is that stick Indians are stolen children. They have been known to come into Indian territory, like into their camps, steal from them, tear up their tents, take away women and children. One of the things that I found incredibly interesting that I was kind of talking to Tim about prior to us starting is I had stumbled across a Netflix documentary. I love all kinds of weird ones. And this one was 411 The Hunted. And it's talking about all these different people that end up missing. And it's like so strange. Like they're completely like gone. Their ammunition, everything. There's no prints of them walking away. They were sitting on a rock and they've disappeared. Well, that is one of the ways that these stick Indians kind of they'll capture somebody and take them over into the next dimension where there would be no trace left. And a lot of these missing hunters are in locations where the stick Indian lore takes place. So if you're thinking outside of the box, it's really not that far-fetched of an idea that these hunters are missing because of stick Indians or whatever this creature really is.
Right.
They are found more around streams. They eat fish. According to the Yakima, they eat a lot of fish when they're kind of minding their own business, not wanting to eat man. That they really kind of do their own thing unless there is like conflict going on that's disturbing them and messing up their environment. They are very sensitive to that. And so there was a lot of mentions of it during the Yakima War between 1855 and 1858. And a lot of American settlers even have stories of it, but it's very obscure, like not a lot of detail, like, yep, I saw it, kind of deal. But that's a lot of the, only information. They are described a lot of the same way that the black stick man is described. They're tall, right. That they are very thin, no room for lungs. How does it breathe? No mouth, no eyes, no head, long, lanky arms, long, lanky legs, possible twigs coming out so it can kind of blend in, but pretty much just a very thin stick. Could you imagine a bunch of those coming at you at once?
Hey, an axe and lighter fluid at that point.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, it makes me think of the Disney Fantasia where Mickey Mouse gets into the sorcerer's book and he makes the broomstick do all of his labor, and then he tries to stop it by cutting it up and it turns into a bunch of broomsticks. Okay, anyways. So that's what that makes me think of.
Exactly. But then, like I said, kindling wood too. But do we have any specific stories of sightings or just legends from the Native Americans?
Lots of just like brief legends. They really won't talk about it. I came across a couple of Reddits, but even those stories, I kind of felt like were very embellished situations where maybe they were just already scared and they just got spooked.
Right.
So I really honestly, other than the legend and lore, I didn't come across any real good stick Indian stories.
Yeah.
You know, they won't really talk about it.
I wouldn't think so, especially if they believe it to be real. Now, when you do research on stick men or the black stick men or whatever, they do come up. So, it's part of the legend and the lore, I believe, of being a stick man.
There was one thing that I thought was pretty interesting. That I didn't bring up when we were talking prior is a lot of it sounds also, and this is just another branch off from the black stick man, sounds very similar to the wind. I apologize if I pronounce it wrong. The Wendigo, and how the Wendigo got its start and how it's described. It's an emaciated man, very, very thin.
Right.
Mimicking cries. It starts off, this creature starts off by cannibalism. So it also starts off by a human being warped into something else, which is kind of like with the stick Indians. They're children humans that are being warped into something else. And that they're very malevolent. And so I think, I thought that was pretty interesting, the ties between those two legends.
Exactly.
That's all I've got. Sorry.
Well, I wish we could find more. That's a freaky one. And it was something I wish we could go into, That's why let me pull those pictures back up again. These were pictures I found of the stick Indian of different artist renderings of what they think the stick Indian looks like.
See, I think it's really interesting because what I did find, they did not really look like or weren't described like that. They were described more like what the man in Clark County found or saw, or even what Tim has talked about in Topeka. So I always found it interesting that, those artist renditions, they're very Native American-esque, but I don't think they're really what the Native Americans are going for when they're describing that creature.
I wonder if they're seeing something more like that.
That's what I envisioned. That's exactly, when you showed that picture, I'm like, that's the stick Indian.
I think this one more than the other ones. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, before we get to our suppositions and theories, let's hear from another sponsor.
I love that so much. It's such a great video. Thank you so much for making that, Tom.
Hunters Society. You're welcome. And I was just telling them, I love all of them. I enjoy all of them. It's just one of those things I enjoyed doing. Thankfully, that music was public domain.
Thank goodness,
Yeah,
because it really
yeah,
is a video.
yeah. It's really cool, and I think Beth keeps popping in and out, buffering wise. Okay, suppositions, theories, thoughts, questions.
I
Well, I was going to say, Andrea, you brought this to our attention. Could this be a tulpa? Tell us about it. Wasn't it you that brought it up?
Well, I
Or
think Beth and
Dagny?
I both were talking about it.
Okay.
So a tulpa, I think Beth had more detail on what it is, but it's basically an entity that is created by equal and unique thought. Basically, if all six of us thought of the same thing in great detail, we could create it with our mind until, and it will last until we all of us forget about it. Which is kind of goes into how you can get multiple sightings of the same thing, like all of a sudden out of nowhere, like one person sees it, they speak out about it, and then you end up with 5 or more who are like, yes, I saw that not too long afterwards, and it looked just like this, or sometimes it might be just tweaked a little bit different.
What was that movie? Was it a Michael Crichton movie? Was it Sphere? Or
I don't know.
one of those where they went down under the ocean and met the aliens?
The Abyss?
No, yeah, it may have been the Abyss. I don't remember. I was thinking it was
No, it
Dustin
wasn't
Hoffman.
Sphere.
But
The Abyss.
but they had to all agree to think about not remembering it or something like that so that they could go on. Was that the Abyss?
Yeah, Beth just said it's the Abyss.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it kind of, speaking from, for me, like my perspective on things, religiously, it does talk about, when 2 or more are gathered, they can make a mountain fall into the sea. So it kind of makes me wonder if the stick man is a tulpa, if it's, especially because even though we've had so many documented cases, we've seen a significant amount of them being documented since 2012 up
Right.
until about 2018, 2019. And it kind of, teeters down after that. People are forgetting about it. They're not thinking about it so much anymore. On to new things.
Well, isn't that what they say? I mean, I've heard that the Slender Man can be explained that way.
Right.
That's how I've heard of the Slender Man.
Well, that was a
comes
work
about
of fiction, and so many people got to focusing on it that supposedly there are now sightings.
that, and if you want to go way back, I kind of think Bloody Mary, kind of comes from the same concept, where, a slumber party game can, maybe cause something, it's just a thought. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just my only issue with that is that it is such a recent phenomenon. Is if it had been going on for 100 years, then I could see, but then Slender Man hadn't been around that long, but it was so popular that everybody was talking about it and whatever.
Well, could Slender Man have like made the uptick of the stick man? Like, people are like, oh, I haven't had a Slender Man experience, but I remember hearing this story that I saw on YouTube or the Facebook,
Could be.
So, social media allows us to also kind of be more in touch, with people and their experiences in a way that we have never been able to, kind of discuss certain things, like all of us, we're all in different locations, we could create a tulpa. So,
oh God, that's scary. And what were you talking about, Christine?
Well, I watched the Candyman here not too long ago again for like the 100th time, and it kind of reminds me of what we
I
are
think it's Sammy
talking
Davis Jr.
Okay.
Candyman, who can take a sunrise? I mean, are we talking about a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a horror flick.
I haven't seen. I've missed that one. Sorry.
Has anybody else heard of the Candyman? Okay. Yeah, it's they have two that I know of for sure. I think they were trying to come out with a third one, and then they had some sort of production issue or something like that. But yeah, it's a really good horror flick. You should try it. Check it out.
Okay. I'll take your recommendation. Now, if it's not a tulpa, in my research, I came across this one from Malaysian folklore, a hantu gala, or tall ghost. It is described as looking like a human, but as you walk nearer to it, it seems to grow taller until you can only see its legs. If you look up to try to see its face, your head will be stuck in that position. This demon will only attack you if you're trying to walk between its legs. So a long, tall, slender. From what I mean, most of the videos I could find on it were in Malaysian, I guess, I'm assuming, and I didn't have a clue what they were saying. And for some reason it wasn't translating. But I mean, are we talking about Malaysian folklore here? Or,
Well,
go ahead.
well, I mean, could it be? Yeah, I mean, we have Sasquatch here, and in other countries they have Yeti, the Yowie. Could it be just another name for what we're experiencing here, but it's the same thing, maybe a little bit different, because of atmospheric, differences? Could it be just somewhat? Could it be the same thing? It kind of makes me wonder, especially if it would be considered like, and I don't mean to jump ahead or anything, like interdimensional.
Well, you are jumping ahead to the next point. Well, that's fine, because you were just doing a natural segue. So yeah, I mean, are we the reason I brought this in here, the reason I suggested an cross-dimensional thing, is because of the fact that it's been described as two-dimensional. That when they turn to the side, it's just like a thin piece of paper. Like, you can see my notes there, and then you turn it to the side, and supposedly that's what they see when these things turn. So could it be like an opening or a portal between the second and third dimension? And then all of a sudden, these lines are stuck out here in the open, and they don't know what to do, and they're freaking out trying to get back home.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just as scared of us. They're like, But yeah, it makes me kind of wonder. I mean, that's if I were going, kind of wonder if it's interdimensional or possibly
portals. Skinwalker Ranch talks about they have reported portals out there, or is it just a hallucination? One of the more or less sinister theories is that a black stick man is merely the manifestation of a person's psyche. Are they making it up? Now, on that question, I refer back to that one with the lady who was out walking her dogs. And her dog started barking first, and she looked up to see what it was. And that's when she saw the stick figure. So do you think she was making it up if her dog saw it? I mean,
I think that it's a possibility that you could have both going on, where someone is clearly seeing something and then somebody else is like, oh yeah, I saw it too. Or because they've been reading about it a lot, or, they watch our show. And then they go out and they're out hiking and they think they see something out of the corner of their eye. Could it be something, or could they just be kind of more in a heightened state at that time because now they're concerned that they may come across something? So, I mean, I think
most of the claims of having seen these things comes from when someone's tired. I ran across one where this couple had been up all night with their friends talking and carried on, and they got out to walk down the street and they saw it. Well, they were fatigued, obviously. They'd been up all night. So most of these claims have been when people were fatigued or tensed or stressed. Could that have something to do with it? And maybe not necessarily negatively, because I just thought about this. Negatively, we might, if we get over fatigued or tense or stressed, we may start to hallucinate. But on the other end of the spectrum is because we may be more open to see things like that.
Yeah, I've thought
Uh-huh.
that, are we more
So
susceptible?
yeah,
Yeah, we're letting our guard down
true.
so we can actually
Mm-hmm.
feel what's going on
Yep.
around us better.
So that's, so to me, it's not really a negative thing. I mean, it could be, if someone is overly stressed or whatever, and tense and fatigued, then they may start making up some stuff. But on the other hand, they may be more open, and the veil between the dimensions is thinner at that point. So who knows?
I mean, you've got that theory where children and animals see things that us as adults don't
That's
see.
true.
That's because as adults we have our guard up so
Mhm.
much that we're blinded to what other people or children or animals can see.
We're
Yep.
busy. Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree.
Just a thought.
No, it's a good thought.
Well, before we go to our final sponsor and close out, final thoughts, Tim?
Now, I know Andrea and I were talking about this earlier. Is that one of the tribes that deals with it is the Shawnee, and the Shawnee start in Ohio. They wind up moving. They moved to North Carolina at one point. They moved to Florida. They're in the Topeka area in the 1800s, about 1824, 1825. They're in the Topeka area. They then get moved down to Oklahoma territory, or then called Indian territory. Is it something that's moved along with them? Is it, has traveled with them? Because I know in Ohio they've got what they call the Ashman, which is one of the different types of Bigfoot that are out there. We've got it in Kansas. Oklahoma has one that is similar. Florida has got one that is similar. Is it, you've got to think, is it something that is localizing itself to that particular area? Is it something that has come to Ohio? It's being seen in Ohio because of where the Indians were located. Is it
Right.
Topeka because of where the Indians were located? So I think it's kind of it's an interesting theory as to, is the stick man localized to that area that's still being seen? But that doesn't explain you're seeing in places like Edinburgh, Scotland, and in
Right.
Malaysia. So you've got some different areas that it could be related to.
Exactly. Well, what are your final thoughts on all this, Tim, before we close out?
I think it'll be interesting to continue to see the research on this as it continues to develop. Even in Topeka, as I'm watching the stories develop, it's like, okay, now that the downtown area and Noto have been developed, now it's moving outside of that area. Is it going to continue to push outside? How many more sightings are we going to see? Is it going to start to decrease the level where people go, oh, it's just here. It's another thing like Topeka has ghosts because our zip code is 666 whatever.
Oh, wow. Right. Okay. All right. Lynn, do you have any final thoughts? Are you still with us?
No, not really. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right. Beth, are you where you can not cut anybody off and give us for your final thoughts?
I do have something.
Oh, wait, Lynn. Hold up, Beth. Hold up, Beth. Go ahead, baby.
You were saying, people see things like Andrea was saying, you see things out of the corner of your eye. Sometimes you're tired, sometimes you're distracted, sometimes you're concentrating on something, but you see something over in your peripheral vision and you turn, and of course, there's nothing there. It's not necessarily, I think, that there's nothing there so much as we're not geared to see it. I think we miss a lot of things because our minds are not geared to see it. Oh, well, there's nothing there. I'm not supposed to see anything. Okay. I think we really miss out on a lot because we're not geared towards it.
Yep. Yep, makes sense. Like Christine said, children and pets are usually more open to it than we are. All right, Beth, your turn.
Okay. I don't know, the stick figure man, woman, whatever it is. Well, I guess it's a man. It baffles me. Is it a tulpa? Is it, I don't know, is the power of suggestion, or people are kind of like the Slender Man saying, oh, we saw it over here, so hey, I think I saw it over here. So, I mean, I don't know. It's
Well, like
time will
Tim
tell,
said,
I guess.
waiting to see where this goes. How many more sightings are going to start popping up around the place? All right, our final sponsor, and then I'll give my closing thoughts and we'll close it out. FrankLovesBooks.com. You can find all kind of cool books on there. We've already bought a bunch from there ourselves. My final thoughts on this as we close it out is I've said it before, but the only true and irrefutable evidence of the paranormal or the strange or unusual is personal experience. If somebody says they saw a stick man, that's it for them. You know, you can debunk all you want, you can disprove all you want, but that person's experience can never be debunked or changed. They saw what they saw. You remember our very first show, our technically very first show, was the Personnel Paranormal, where each one of us shared our different experiences, and that was their experience. That can't be argued with. And whether the stick men are evil, whether they're, a stick Indian, or whether it's the Hantu Gala, whether it's a tulpa, what that person experienced is real for them. And here at Strange Journeys, we continue to respect that. If you can tell us that you saw a stick man, that's all we need. We're not going to sit there and argue with you and say it's a hallucination or you're tired. So don't be afraid. I mean, we all, even the ETs right here, these guys, even Beth down there, we've all had experiences, and we each believe in our experiences. And that's all we need. Whether the stick man is a real entity or not, or whether it's from second or third or fourth or fifth dimension, that's for the witness to decide. And whoever has experienced the stick man, that's your proof. That's all the proof you need right there. When we used to do our tours, we never guaranteed any evidence. We just told the people that, what you experience is between you and whatever you're experiencing it with. We can't turn the spirits on and off. You can't go out and just see a stick man. But if you've seen a stick man, that's your experience. Revel in it and enjoy it. Now, we have another show in 2 weeks. But until then, hold on a second. Here we go. We're closing out. It's time to go. All right, guys, in 2 weeks, God, I just put out the outline today, or the episode list. We're going to be talking about lesser known Bigfoot sightings. Is that what was on the list? I think it was. All right, we'll see you guys. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all for being here. Bye-bye.